brown panda bears. The great panda has just one subspecies, and that's the brown panda bear. It's also known as the Qinling bear after its home in China's Qinling Mountains. Qinlings have dark brown fur where most pandas have black fur, and lighter tan fur where most pandas are white. Scientists say that these differently colored bears probably came about when regular pandas indulged in inbreeding. We've caught sight of brown pandas since 1985, but scientists only declared them a unique subspecies in 2005. Estimates vary on how many Qinling bears exist. There could be hundreds out there hiding in the mountains, but scientists have so far ever only seen 5 actual specimens. Three-headed frog. A mutant frog with 3 heads and 6 legs was found in the garden of Green Umbrella Nursery in the UK in 2004. The discovery was made by a student who had just been dropped at the nursery on a Thursday morning. The students at the nursery initially thought it was 3 frogs cuddling with each other, but were surprised when it turned out to be 1 frog. School staff captured the frog and put it in a tank. By Friday morning, the frog was discovered to have escaped. Froggy's eyes and legs seemed to function normally, but it is unknown whether its 3 mouths were fully functional. A professor of biology at the Open University said that although mutant frogs have been reported for about 200 years, one with 3 heads and 6 legs is completely unheard of. The mutation could be due to parasites, pollution, or genetic mutation. Some people believe that the mutation is an after-effect of the decommissioned Hinkley Nuclear Power Station, which is 19 kilometers away from Green Umbrella Nursery. White gorilla. The gently named Snowflake was unique to the gorilla world. Snowflake was the only known albino gorilla ever seen and spent his time at the Barcelona Zoo in Spain. He lived a long life, eventually succumbing to an unusual form of skin cancer. Thousands flocked to the zoo to see him in his last months, where he'd become a phenomenon and obviously one of the main attractions. He fathered 22 offspring, seeing only 6 make it to adulthood, and not one of them shared his amazing skin tone. 2-headed albino rat snake. Black rat snakes are usually all black except for their chins, which are white, but one black rat snake called Wee isn't black. It's an albino. It also has 2 heads and both male and female organs. Wee was purchased by World Aquarium in St. Louis from its owner for $15,000 when it was just a few weeks old. Back in 1999, Wee was visited by more than 1 million people over the years before its death at the age of 8. The 2-headed snake would often try to move in 2 different directions at the same time. 2-headed snakes generally have a very low survival rate in the wild. The 2 heads are known to fight each other for food, and, in some cases, will attempt to eat each other. Squittens. Squittens, from the words squirrel and kitten, were once thought to be the product of a squirrel and a cat. This is because they have short front paws and usually have to stand on their hind legs like squirrels. In reality, they're cats who are affected by a mutation called radial hypoplasia, or RH, which stops their front paws from becoming fully developed. In mild cases of RH, the cats still make use of the front paws to hop like rabbits. In moderate cases, they hunt with their hind legs and may even use their tail to balance, just like kangaroos. In severe cases of RH, they move entirely with their hind legs and look like squirrels when standing upright. They are also sometimes called dinosaur cats or kangaroo cats. Squittens encounter problems with climbing, particularly when coming out of trees. They also have problems when descending from stairs, and some have even been observed descending backwards. One squitten called Kanga was born along with 3 other normal kittens. She also suffers from megasophagus, which requires her to eat a special diet while standing upright because she has difficulty swallowing. White tiger. Kenny was rescued in 2000 at around 2 years old. He was living in filth at a private breeder in Arkansas, but because of his obvious deformities, he wasn't pretty enough to sell. Kenny was rescued along with his brother, Willie, a normal orange-coated tiger, by Turpentine Creek Wildlife Reserve in Arkansas. Kenny was mentally disabled and had a deformed face which prevented him from shutting his mouth properly. Willie, on the other hand, was cross-eyed. Kenny's and Willie's parents are siblings who were made to mate by a breeder who hoped to get a white tiger. The breeder later gave up on the 2 brothers after he encountered difficulty selling them due to their deformities. White tigers don't exist naturally. The only way to produce them is by breeding closely related tigers through generations until the right mutation occurs. Most are born with health problems and physical deformities. The gene that causes their coats to become white also causes the optic nerve to become connected to the wrong side of the brain. They also suffer from cleft palates, club feet, immune deficiency, and deformities in their spines and organs. In fact, Most white tigers are stillborn, and those who aren't typically die early. Kenny died of cancer in 2008. Two-headed pig. A pig called Rudy has 2 heads, 2 snouts, 2 ears, and 3 eyes. The middle eye, which is where the 2 heads meet, is blind. It was purchased from its owner for $5,000 by animal rescue group Pigs Without Partners, who renamed it Ditto. Only one of Ditto's snouts was functional, and it had to wear a little helmet in case it fell over. Its whole life, Ditto had problems walking and had to use a special walker to get around. It had only begun learning how to use its 2 front legs when it died in 1998, just 2 months after getting to Pigs Without Partners. Before its death, it had become unstable and had a habit of falling on its left side. Its face was preserved to help research facial deformities in children. Half-toned American lobster. American lobsters, also called Maine lobsters, are brown but turn orange when boiled. In July 2006, an American lobster caught in Maine turned out looking half-boiled and half-cooked, as its right side was mottled brown and the left side was orange. The shell of American lobsters has a combination of yellow, red, and blue pigments, and one half of this catch appeared orange because it lacked the blue component. The other half was unaffected because each half of an American lobster grows independently. Half-toned lobsters are a rarity indeed. The odds of getting one is about 1 in 50 million. Black penguin. At least 17 species of penguin waddle over this planet, so the birds can vary considerably in appearance. Your standard penguin has a black back and a white belly, but individual penguins may have colored feather crests, orange bills, white flippers, or bright yellow eyes. And then there's the black penguin, which is fully black, front and back. When a National Geographic photographer caught sight of one in 2010, an ornithologist called it a 1 in a zillion kind of mutation. This penguin has melanism, the overproduction of melanin, the pigment that colors skin. Far more birds suffer from a shortage of melanin than a surplus of it, and melanism in penguins is close to unheard of. White elephant. White elephants do suffer from albinism, but despite their name, they aren't white. They're pink or reddish-brown, and their rare mutation is more common in Asian elephants than in African elephants. In Asian countries like Burma, also called Myanmar, and Thailand, white elephants were traditionally considered sacred and are not used for any form of labor. The story goes that the kings of Siam, now Thailand, used to give literal white elephants as gifts to any subject they wanted to punish. Since the albino elephants were sacred, subjects couldn't use the elephant for any sort of labor and certainly couldn't kill it, so recipients would just keep taking care of the valuable gift until they went bankrupt. That's all for today. Thanks for watching and see you next time.